Hey everyone, Matt here. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I hope you're having a nice day so far. Following through with my commitment to you of coming back on a daily basis with the latest stimulus news, here we are. Let's get right into it and talk about the latest stimulus updates, stimulus checks, and what are some of the scenarios that could potentially play out between now and the end of the year. We only have a few days left in 2020. Could we possibly see $2,000 stimulus checks? Could they be $600 stimulus checks? Could we get $0 stimulus checks? In other words, no stimulus checks. Or could it be anywhere in between $600 and $2,000 stimulus checks? Let's talk about all of this in this video. But hey, if you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that subscribe button just right below the video. Thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Matt. And if you're returning, welcome back. Great to see all of you. So thank you so much. Let's get into this and talk about it. So the 5,500-page stimulus bill that Congress passed on Monday night is now in the possession of President Trump. So yes, even though they passed it Monday night, it actually wasn't in the possession of President Trump until just very recently. It was actually flown from Washington to Palm Beach, where President Trump is spending Christmas. Hashtag on the taxpayer's dime. That's kind of funny, but not really at the same time. But anyway, so yes, it was flown to President Trump in Palm Beach. At this point, all we need is a simple signature, just a couple strokes of the pen, and this thing could turn into law for the American people and offer that much needed support right now during this time, especially approaching the end of the year, which I'll talk about here in just a second. But it's going to, there's a lot going on in the next couple days. Now, this stimulus bill, this is the one that contains those $600 stimulus checks. Now, I know President Trump was out Tuesday night demanding that Congress go into the bill and amend it to $2,000 stimulus checks for adults versus the $600 stimulus checks that's currently in the bill. Now, Congress did not make that amendment. However, they still sent the bill to President Trump, which is actually good. Many people, or some people, are actually calling on President Trump to just sign the bill in its current state. Just, hey, President Trump, do us a favor, sign the bill in its current state, and then what we'll do is we'll pass through a standalone bill to amend the stimulus checks to that $2,000 that you have demanded. So we'll have to see what President Trump decides to do, but that's kind of what some people are calling on is, hey, just sign the bill. We won't amend it, but just sign the bill, and then we'll push through a standalone bill for your demands of $2,000 stimulus checks. Now, here's the problem with Congress if they open up the bill and try to make this amendment as President Trump has demanded. It's not going to be quite as easy as it sounds. Now, for many of us, we would think, yeah, super simple, right? You grab the bill, you open it up, and you make the simple amendment. It's not quite that easy. It's not going to be like in Congress, hey, everybody, open up your booklets to page 2,200, and right here on paragraph 3, we're going to be amending line 4 and changing it from $600 stimulus checks for adults and $600 stimulus checks for dependents. We're just going to simply change that to $2,000 stimulus checks for adults, $4,000 stimulus checks for a couple, and $600 stimulus checks for dependents. It's not that easy. The reason I say that is because if they open up that bill, it's going to open up a whole messy can of worms that is likely going to take weeks and weeks and weeks for Congress to renegotiate. So it would actually be in the best interest of the American people and everybody right now if they don't amend it. Just don't amend it. Just get President Trump to sign it in its current state. Just keep that thing closed. It's like a little monster wrapped up in 5,500 pages that we do not want to let out of that thing. So the best thing they can do is just get him to sign it and then do this standalone bill or however they present this thing and follow through with his demands. Now, what's the likelihood a standalone bill will actually be passed? Who knows? I mean, realistically, probably pretty low, realistically, but you just never know. I mean, there's so much that has gone on in the last week that I don't think even the best fortune teller in the world could have predicted, but who knows? Maybe they could have. If that is the case, maybe I should talk to that person so they can help me work out my stimulus videos so that I can predict the future for all of you, what could potentially be coming in the next few days here. So As many of you know that have been following along with these videos over the last week or so, I mean, it has been massive shifts on a daily basis. I mean, like, not just like little changes here and there. It has been like 180 degree pivots from like what it was a few hours prior. So there's a lot of changes that have been happening, as we've all known over the last few days here regarding stimulus. So at the same time, we're actually in a really interesting situation right now. We're actually in this 10-day presidential action period. Now, what is this period? So once the bill is in the possession of the president, it goes into this 10-day period where it's kind of like the president gets 10 days to do whatever they want to do, whether they want to sit on it, whether they want to sign it, whether they want to veto it, whatever they want to do. They get like this 10-day period. Well, what's actually interesting is now that the bill is in the possession of President Trump, let's just say it came into his possession yesterday, December 24th, Christmas Eve. So if we look at a calendar, what's actually interesting about this is this 10-day period is with the exception of Sundays. It does not count Sundays. So if we look at a calendar, it's kind of like, let me just give you a quick analogy. It's like we're playing an intense game of poker right now, and unfortunately for the American people, President Trump is sitting on pocket aces, like the best hand you can have, pocket aces. So anyway, my point is, we're in this 10-day period right now. If we look at a calendar, January 3rd, the new Congress will be sworn in. Well, what does that mean? Excluding Sundays, and if President Trump took possession of the stimulus bill yesterday, he would technically still be within that 10-day period on January 3rd when the new Congress would be sworn in. So, what does this mean? Well, it means that if no action is taken, whether the president signs it, he vetoes it, or he does what's called a pocket veto, in other words, he does nothing and just lets the clock run out, technically he'd still be within that 10-day period on January 3rd when the new Congress is sworn in. Well, here's the caveat to all that. The bill would need to be signed into law and or vetoed within that period while the current Congress is in session. As soon as the new Congress is sworn in, the bill dies. So that's why I said this is like an intense game of poker, and President Trump is sitting on pocket aces. He has an incredibly leveraged hand right now. My point is, it's not a good thing. He has a lot stacked in his favor right now, and what it looks like to me, what he's doing is he is doing what many of you have been calling down in the comment section, that pocket veto. In other words, he's not doing anything. He's not signing it. He's not vetoing it. He's just sitting on it and letting the clock run out. Now, again, that would not be a good thing for millions upon millions of Americans, but it looks like, unfortunately, that possibly could be happening. Now, we don't know what's going to be happening over the weekend or on Monday when the government faces the shutdown. I mean, there are so many things coming. This is like a massive freight train running down the tracks at 60. And, it's a bad situation that could potentially be transpiring if we don't get some action here. So that actually brings me to my next point. I hope I made all that clear with that whole 10-day period, the pocket veto, all that kind of stuff. It's an interesting situation. If you kind of look at a calendar and look how everything plays out, it's like, ooh, that's not a cool situation if you ask me. So anyway, so President Trump could sign this thing, but what would it look like for him if he actually signed it? Well, it would look like a lot of weakness to him and like he was caving to his arch nemesis, Nancy Pelosi, right? He doesn't want Nancy Pelosi to win. He certainly does not want Nancy Pelosi to win. Those two hate each other. So if he signs the bill, he would probably look at that like, well, I caved and I gave in to Nancy. So he certainly wouldn't want that to happen. If he vetoes it in this time period that he has right now, if he vetoes it, well, then Congress could come together and override his veto and turn it into law anyway. So again, then he'd be kind of overridden by Congress. Well, that's not cool either. He wants to be in control, right? He wants to be in control of this negotiation. So where do we stand then? Well, tomorrow, being Saturday, December 26th, 12 plus million Americans are going to be losing their unemployment benefits after tomorrow. That's it. Unemployment benefits end for 12 plus million people. In fact, some of the sources I was looking at, I saw some sources saying 12 plus million. I saw some sources saying 14 plus million. So either way, It's a lot of people. 12 plus 14 million, whatever you call it, it's a lot of people. Millions and millions of people losing unemployment benefits if we don't get a signature from President Trump on the current bill to get those unemployment benefits extended out to March 14th, which is what is outlined in the stimulus bill. Not only that, they'd be getting that $300 federal boost on top of it through that March 14th date. What else do we have coming? Well, Monday, I alluded to this just a minute ago. On Monday, the government is technically funded through the end of the day on Monday, just a couple days from now, December 28th. Well, if we don't get a signature from President Trump between now and then, or by the end of the day, that would require Congress to possibly come in and offer another short-term stopgap bill to continue to keep the government funded for some unknown period of time, whether that's a couple days to give President Trump more time, maybe it's a couple weeks, maybe it's a month until Biden is in there after the inauguration, or who knows what they do. But that's the next hurdle that we have coming. Again, if we don't get a signature on the stimulus bill then, and we just get that extension or like a stopgap bill, then the government continues to function, but maybe we don't even get a stopgap bill. Maybe they just let the government shut down. That's another option. And then the wrecking ball comes, and this is a really bad one, and this is the eviction ban. That expires December 31st. The end of the day, December 31st. Again, within the stimulus bill, we have an extension of 30 days, or 1 month, I should say, through the end of January for the eviction ban. Again, if we don't get a signature or an executive order from President Trump to extend out the eviction ban for at least, another month, to give people another month, that thing could be coming down at the end of the year. So, literally, within 1 week from now, we have, let's just call it 12 million people losing unemployment benefits. We have 10 plus million households potentially facing eviction. 10 plus million households, which the average household has 2.3 people in it. So we'd be looking at roughly, let's just call it 23 million people right there facing eviction, plus the 12 million losing unemployment. What does that bring us to? 35 million, plus how many potential government employees could potentially be losing their jobs on Monday night, or Tuesday morning, we should call it. We throw another million or two in there, right? We could be looking at 37 million plus people impacted in a matter of 1 week from now, massively impacted. So again, I don't want to be fear mongering or anything like that and making everybody all nervous, but this is the facts. This is the actual reality that we are facing right now. So I feel like I'm out of breath. So this is it. This is getting into a really serious situation. So at the very least, hopefully President Trump can just come to his senses and say, okay, I'm just going to throw in the towel. I'm just going to give everybody what they want, which is the right thing to do. Just sign the bill, and then maybe we can work with Congress to get more stimulus checks to the people. You know what I mean? Because the last thing we want Congress to do is open up that bill. It's just going to open up another can of worms. It's going to drag the process out. We need action immediately. We don't have 2 weeks to waste anymore. That time has gone. They've already wasted all that time. We don't have that time anymore. We just need a simple signature, and then we need maybe Congress to come together on a standalone bill or something else to offer additional aid or relief, something like that. So, wow, a lot going on for sure. So anyway, I hope this update helps you guys out. Again, I'm here for you on a daily basis. I'll continue to bring you the latest updates and continue to break everything down in hopefully a way that is understandable for everybody. But either way, the moral of the story is I'm here for you on a daily basis. I'm your underdog advocate, or just your advocate, whatever you want to say, but I'm here for you anyway. So I hope this helps you out. Have a great evening. I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll keep you posted with everything going on. So have a nice night, and I'll catch you again soon. Thanks, everybody.